let's begin with the fact that there are a lot of families running.
Oh, yeah.
Next year, we're talking about mothers and daughters, fathers and sons, in-laws, husbands and wives, grandchildren and grandparents.
The in-laws are particularly
this entire clans and people's family members swapping places. Is this the norm? Has this always been like this, or this election is going to see the most number of dynastic families?
Well, there's a wonderful phrase for that. You all know, I'm sure, what an orca is. An orca, the shark, right? So that's actually ORCA, right? In terms of candidates, it's really that by number. So it's the old familiars, the O, and then the R is the relatives, the C are the celebrities, and the A are the alternatives. So the most that will come back in any given election are the O's.
So there's always going to be orcas in every election.
Yeah, and then the relatives are next, and then the celebrities, and then the alternatives.
Gusto niya yung mnemonic, orca.
O is what?
That is such poor penmanship.
O is what?
Yes.
O is the oldies.
Old familiars,
Old
yes.
familiars, I see. So in all your years of political consulting,
decades.
I mean, in all your decades of that, this doesn't surprise you. This is not the most number of political dynasties you've seen.
Absolutely not. It doesn't surprise me. Taken at face value, I'm actually the level of surprise for me now comes at the. Maybe hubris is a good word. See, I'm able to use big words on this program. I'm usually speaking in straight Filipino, or they're giving me grief for using my Arneo English. But it's the hubris that surprises me for this election because, like you said, previously we have this thing called order of attribute preferences in our discipline. It's almost psychographics, wherein when you look at the social engineering data, voters don't. Especially in the local level, they will not vote for families on the same ticket. In previous elections, that was actually pronounced. So if it's a sister and a sister, a mother and a daughter running for a local elective position at the same time in the same ticket, they usually don't win, or one of them doesn't make it. But these elections, wow, the dam has burst. We've got entire clans running, as Ms. Sean said.
So what you're saying, Alan, let me just interject, is that okay, dynastic politics is nothing new, but this year's filing is extra.
Yes,
extra.
The concentration of these so-called fat dynasties or these dynastic
What do you think contributed to that? Bakit mas malakas ang loob nila ngayon?
Okay. Yes, I was shocked at the level. I think what contributed to that, if I'm being very honest, is number one, it's the power dynamic happening at the very top, which is the Marcoses versus the Dutertes fighting it out. So that contributed greatly, I believe, to these allies seeing that one political family is, or one political faction is dominating, so to speak. So they have tended to extend into this political base, thinking that, sige, let's just have our relatives run. Another reason is because also election success. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They'll see what they can, they test limits, politicians will test limits.
To see what they can get
away with. To see what they can get away with, so to speak, your words, not mine. And if they see that, hey, the goalpost just keeps on moving and moving and moving, then maybe soon. I mean, we have the superstar running, Nora Honor. We have the star for all seasons and her whole family running.
So is this a litmus test for 2028, the presidential, the big one?
Well, the big one, the midterm elections are always very tricky in the sense that it's a referendum. You've heard it, ad infinitum, ad nauseum. A referendum on the current administration. But I think this particular midterms is very, very tricky because the admin has to show that they are still in control. You don't want the lame duckery to happen. See, I've just invented a word on national television.
It seems the Dutertes are scrambling to find their slate of allies.
Right.
Like, for example, kanina sinabi ni Marcoleta na pilitan siya tumakbo. Kasama na dyan siyempre si Philip Salvador. Ang makakasama natin ngayon, tatanong natin mamaya, si Willie Revillame. Vic Rodriguez is also under the Duterte slate. So parang bago itong mga mukha na ito. No? What's happening here?
Well, for the Dutertes, it's a matter of survival, obviously. They need to populate the legislative branch. In fact, I was surprised. I really thought that former PRRD would actually
go for Senate.
Go for Senate, because that's where they need the power base to be. Because the sword of Damocles hanging over their
Sara.
leader, their current leader, Vice President Inday Sara, is the threat of impeachment. So that's the first thing they need to head off. In fact, see, it's all past and done. The water is under the bridge. But honestly, if I were to advise the Dutertes, I would have actually made Sara run for senator.
Okay, I have a question, Ellen. They only fielded 3 senatoriables under PDP Laban. Now, that doesn't mean no independent candidate can also fight for the Dutertes
No,
or represent them.
absolutely.
But were you shocked that they only fielded 3 senatoriables?
Oh, well, 3 senatoriables under PDP,
Under PDP
Laban.
Laban,
Not shocking at all, because PDP Laban, even during the heyday of the Duterte presidency, had, I think, only 2 members in the lower house and only 1 in the Senate. That was during the might, the Duterte juggernaut. So as a party, no, I'm not shocked. And as he said correctly, Ms. Sean, it doesn't mean that, it doesn't draw party lines. You can
Yes.
still be a rabid
Here in the
Supporter.
Philippines, we don't draw
Supporter.
any party lines.
Right.
Pero teka, bakit Sara for Senate?
Ako, I would have. I think that would have been a master stroke. See, I'm not giving free advice. This is
your chance to
this is
sell
the
yourself
author,
to
this is the
potential
author, in me,
clients.
diba? But imagine if VP Sara would have run for the Senate. Constitutionally, she's allowed. Suddenly, the threat of impeachment is no longer there. You can't impeach her. She's no longer
She's
part of the
not.
executive. And then suddenly, all of these congressmen that are, throwing brickbats at her and quote-unquote
Kalaban niya na.
bullying her, suddenly, she's in the upper house saying, sige, magpasa kayo ng bill. I'm now here in the upper house with my
sorry,
pals.
I'm not familiar, but what makes that constitutionally permissible?
Because if you're an elective official, you can run for any
Another
position.
elective
In the same way
was-
VP Lenny ran for
Another-
president,
Let's
Isko
say-
was
but-
mayor, and he ran for president.
So
Okay,
if I were to flip around what you said earlier, do you then think
A light bulb moment
former
happens.
President Digong Duterte
Yes.
made a bad decision running for mayor? Because he could have left that to his son still.
Sure.
Right.
In fact, I mean, if you're just moving the chessboard pieces, agnostically, you would say, maybe it's an ill-advised move. I would have definitely, because the power base in Davao will always be there. He could have represented himself by proxy through any of his kids. I don't think it would have taken away that much.
Now it
the
looks like
illusion.
they're very much threatened in Davao.
Right. Well, by the Nograleses. Another story again.
But
just-
was it smart to choose Carlo over Migs to run for mayor in Davao?
frankly, it was, from what I knew, it was always, Cabsec Carlos. He
Yeah.
was actually the cabinet
Cabinet
secretary of
secretary of
Duterte, right? So, Attorney Migs is, good evening, Attorney Migs, is an acquired taste. And she probably would do better in Congress. I think she's running for district now.
Okay, wait. I don't want to leave the Dutertes just yet. Vice President Sara Duterte, recently, she's kind of changing her approach, her attack, right?
Right.
She's doing press cons now.
Yes.
Entertaining questions from the
Yes.
media. She's never done that before. Correct me
Yes.
if I'm wrong. Can we sign off the Dutertes now? Because they always have some tricks, some surprises up their sleeve. And although Digong did not
So
file
no more
for Senate,
substitutions.
no more substitutions.
Sure,
but
yeah.
it doesn't mean she's out of cards, right? What do you think? What's your read?
You have to think of the Duterte not as individuals, but as a brand. And the data will show, everybody's got an opinion, but at the end of the day, you have to slot back into the pure hard cold data. The pure hard cold data shows that yes, she has taken a decline. Yes, her numbers have dipped, but she's still number 1. People forget this. They're focusing on the slip. But the latest data shows, at least from the reputable survey firms, that she's still
Is there still
ahead.
advantage for her somewhere there?
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, Miss Sean, right? They've thrown everything but the kitchen sink at her. I mean, the poodle and the bathwater and the baby, they've thrown everything at her, diba? Hit her with a battering
Yeah.
ram, and boy,
The other way to look at the Davao scenario, the showdown in Davao,
interesting showdown.
is that now it's Carlo Nograles
Yes.
who has an uphill climb, right?
Yes.
Because, who's not going to vote for Digong down in Davao, right?
Again, this is
it's
almost
gonna
muscle
be-
memory for them to shade the Duterte name.
Correct. So now, if I were him, why would I still be in the race, right? There's many other positions he could have gone for.
Nakapagod na.
Thank
Did
you for
he- was-
painting me right into a
Was this a
tricky corner. Huh?
My I have a theory, and I don't know how sound it is. But
Let's hear this
is
theory.
it that he miscalculated and he thought Digong would be running for Senate? Therefore, if he were running up against Baste, he would have a bigger chance. Was this the calculation he made, you think?
Well, I won't speak on the Nograles side first. I'll take it from the Duterte side. I think this whole drama of, oh, he has withdrawn, he's going to run for the Senate. I think that whole thing was trying, slips, feints, and fakes to draw out who's going to run on the Nograles side.
Okay.
Very, very typical, very familiar behavior for the Dutertes. But honestly, if you're looking at it from the point of view of Cabsec Carlo, I think whether you're running against a Baste or a PRRD, I think the climb would be the same. If
So you're
ever,
saying
maybe
he's
by
running
3-4
against the
points.
brand.
He's running against the
Yeah.
brand. Your network mate Tulfo, for example. If you're running against any Tulfo, you're not running against that Tulfo. You're running against the Tulfos.
Before we leave Davao, I just wanted to ask your thoughts on the move of Pastor Apollo Quiboloy to
Right.
run for senator. What is he trying to achieve here? Get some sympathy, probably to get out of his
Right.
dilemma?
Well, first, I think he's trying to achieve history. We are the only country in the world that had the Son of God run for Senate. I mean, wow. I mean, we've had celebrities, politicians, soldiers, policemen, the Son of God running for the Senate. I'll get a load of that.
Owner of the universe.
Right, owner of the universe. Stop, I win. But levity aside, he doesn't have anything to lose, number one. He's already where he is. And he's probably banking on that parliamentary immunity. I mean, who knows, right?
One last question. Do you think the Duterte smoke and mirrors, what with the fake report, supposedly that he's going to feel? Do you think it drew out other candidates as well that filed today, last day?
No, I would categorically say no.
That was it.
That trick, if you want to call it that,
Slip
smoke and
feint,
mirrors,
yeah.
Strategy.
slip feint. It's a little bit. It's getting a little
It's dated.
old. Yeah, it's a bit dated. Pleated pants. So I'm not sure if it. And he played it too late. If that was really the key.
Was there anybody who you were thinking would file but didn't?
Again, I honestly thought VP Sara would file for Senate. I
Just
thought
that.
We
Yeah,
don't even
just
know
that.
if that was a consideration. There
well-
was no rumors around
Oh
it
no,
at
no,
all.
no! I mean, in my head, I was thinking, if the math is
But
mathing.
you know what? She still could have gotten impeached in the Senate or in Congress. The numbers are against her.
But why would you impeach a member of the legislature? And she's
Betrayal
not
of
Senate-
public
but
trust
she's
is
not
an
Senate
It's going to
umbrella
set a
brand.
precedent to all the other senators.
Yeah.
Right, but if she's already in the Senate, then she's got her pals, and the numbers won't work.
But she still-
Yeah, she does have the numbers.
But
It
she
will
could
die at
still,
the Senate, right?
theoretically, could get impeached.
Well, you know what? If she were in the Senate, she'd have to inhibit anyway. So that's one thing.
Maybe
right?
you failed to throw your idea out there
Early enough.
early enough for people to debate about it. So we should have you more often on the show.
Right, except Regina.
I know I made a
Thinks I'm a
boo-boo,
dog and
but
pony guy,
just very quickly, one last thing. What do we make
Top
of
Hat and Kane.
one last thing, very very quickly, 30 seconds. What do you make of all these candidates running under the party list system? We have names like Laida de
Thank you.
Lima,
I'm so happy you brought this up.
Chel Diokno, who were expected to run for the upper chamber, but then last minute, not so much last minute,
Right.
but decided in the end we're going to run for the party list
I'm
system. What is going on there?
I'm so very happy you brought this up because the problem with party list is people get tempted by the math. They think
exactly.
all I need to be a congressman in this country is to get 300,000 votes.
Yeah.
And I get one seat. Maybe double that, a little over 620, I get 2 seats. So if I have enough followers on social media, if I have enough pals, if I have a captive audience, I'm going to go and become a
the bar is
party list
lower.
congressman, right? Because they're thinking of 300,000 people.
But the reality is,
There's 180 party lists competing for one vote. And 70% of a party list vote comes from machinery or
Yes.
negotiated votes,
Yeah.
not retail votes.
Yes.
You won't get it. But then again, for every Mocha Uson who had 5.8 million followers, rabid followers, and only got 115,000 votes, there's a guy like Boni Bosita who has 3.3 million followers and is now a congressman with 991.
That's a
Yeah,
very
but
good
one rider
point.
party
We're
machinery
going to have
votes.
to
Right.
leave
Will work.
that there for now, but
Please
we will
do
have
come
you
back.
back on to talk about the local races,
if I'm wanted,
the
right?
political races
I'll
this
invite
time.
myself.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us
It's a
tonight.
pleasure's mine.
Campaign
Thank you.
strategist Alan Herman.